still waiting for my camera to come on.
All right, guys, so here we are with another Mega Manifester call. I'm sorry that we couldn't have Matthew on again because Matthew is like one of the biggest Mega Manifestors I know. He's a multi-millionaire, but we do have Jeff, who is just as stunning in a different way. He's a Mega Manifester as well. So I was hoping to have all three of us on the call because it would have been a phenomenal call, of course, but we at least have Jeff, and we're waiting for his camera to come on because we've been having
Yeah, I don't know what's up with camera tonight. It's not coming on at all.
quirky. You know, we've been having these quirky things all day.
Hold on 1 second. I'll ask my producer to come and help me because she always tells me these things. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Emily, could we have you, please? I can't get my camera to work on the Hangout at all. I'm live. It's supposed
Emily's
to be
You've got the many cam thing on.
What do you mean?
You've obviously chosen, go to the settings.
Settings is where?
The settings is that wheel.
Hold on, Michelle, we'll get it.
You need to take it off the mini cam and put it onto the Lenovo.
Oh.
Because you're not using the lower third.
I see. Said fine.
Oh, wow.
All right, now I can plug back in my technical. Because we have a special program we use for our blab shows.
And I'm not anymore, Jeff. You're not there anymore.
Uh-oh. It lost me again?
Yes, it
All
did.
right, hang on.
Because we have a really good show tonight, guys. We've got something that he's going to read from Napoleon Hill, which is really good.
Okay, we're here. I didn't save it. I'm getting there. This is a brand new computer with Windows 10, and I'm not a Windows 10 guy. I'm like old school Vista and XP. I love that old man, but hey, look at me. You know what I mean?
Cool. All right. So we want to continue this whole Mega Manifester thing because I believe everybody can be a Mega Manifester. It's not just, we're not somebody special that, we were sprinkled with fairy dust and everything magical happened for us. I think that everybody can be a Mega Manifester. So we're just continuing the conversation as to how to become one because there are steps to do it and everybody can do it. Everybody has access to the same steps, to the same stuff, to the same abilities. And it really boils down to that abundance. It's that there's more than enough abundance for everyone, right? So I want you, Jeff, to go into that whole Napoleon Hill thing because there are some gurus out there, and I hesitate to call them gurus, but they knew their stuff, and I think they channeled a lot of what they wrote. And Napoleon Hill is one of them, of course, that I really find interesting because a lot of his stuff is intriguing to me. It really stresses that he was ahead of his time, that he knew what he was talking about, and it really stresses that he was a Mega Manifester. So if you want something big and you feel like you can't have it or you don't deserve it or that it's impossible, it's not impossible, trust me. So go ahead, Jeff. Tell me what you've got for tonight's show. Well,
it's an amazing subject, folks, and Michelle, thank you. It actually goes back to like the 18th century, believe it or not, when they started to believe that the mind had more opportunity to conceive things than they ever thought. The scientific community, because back then you got to remember when the King of England said, you're a wizard or a witch, they had you hung and they burned you at the stake. So they did this stuff in secrecy way back in those days. But as it's grown, and there was a guy by the name of Franz Mesmer, and he was, if you've heard the term mesmerize, and this is the early forms of hypnotherapy, which I am a hypnotherapist, so I'm very attuned to that. And he was amazing. I mean, he actually could send you into a room and there could be snakes all over the place and it wouldn't bother you a bit, that kind of a thing. But this is all about how the mind works, is what I'm getting back to. And last week we talked some of it, but I'm involved with a mastermind group, and our group is working with the book Think and Grow Rich, which I'll show you right here. And I've got much of it marked and denoted and notes and everything else, because it boils down to something very simple, and it isn't a hard thing to do, but people don't want to believe it. But if you can conceive what you want, then you can achieve what you want. And they say, well, how do you do that? You've got to have enough belief. There has to be enough belief involved. I like that crown somebody just put on your head. That looks good. You look like Queen Michelle.
I was doing the effects. I thought
That's very cool. So if I call it CBA, the opposite of ABC. It's very simple to remember. Conceive. What does conceive means? Well, it's a conceptual thing. You have to think something. You have to bring it, manifest it, right? You've got to bring it forth. What is
Right.
it you want to conceive? What is it you want to change in your life? Let's say I want to be wealthy to the point I don't have to worry about paying bills anymore. I want to set a definite number. Let's say that. Let's say that. Oh, you're on the beach now. Yes, there you go. We can live on the beach. We can do our business on the beach, right? So you
That's
say,
it.
okay, within 6 months or a year, a definite time, I am going to establish in my mind clearly that I want, and I'm going to write it down. And people say, why do I need to write it down? Because it's scientifically proven, psychologically, when you write something down, you cast it to your memory. It's the beginning of a new habit. And you've got to create that within your mind in order to believe what you conceive. So that's the next. That's the C. Then there's the B. You have to have enough belief in you that you can hang on to it. All right. It isn't just airy. What was that word you say? Airy fairy, fairy airy, whatever it is.
Right.
That's it. All right. It isn't that
Yeah.
because people say, well, that's crazy. I can't think myself. But
Oh,
Michelle said earlier, money and things we manifest is all energy. All right. There's tons of it in the universe, let alone on the earth.
there's
We are energy. We're all energy. So if you can conceive it, think about it, write it down, you can develop a habit and take action to believe it, you shall achieve it. That's CBA.
right.
And that's what it boils down to.
Love that. 3, 2, 1. Isn't that interesting? Because numerologically speaking, of course, I'm always looking at things through numbers. CBA is 3, 2,
Mhm.
1, or
I
1, 2,
like that. I like that. It's got a good it's got a
and
good ring to it.
6. 6 is the number of creativity and creative
Okay.
expression.
Yeah.
So talking about creation, that's what we do, right?
That's right. Well, we are beings of creation. We all have that code in us. And if you really want to make something happen, you've got to take some steps. And I'm going to give it to you right here. Okay. This is what my mastermind group's working on, and they are doing it. I mean, not only are they doing it, they're achieving it. They conceived it, they believe it, and they're achieving it. All right. In a very short period of time, we had a second call yesterday, and they're like, whoa, this is nuts because this works. Okay.
Okay, wait, Jeff, before you go into it, we've got to
Go
do the
right
drum
ahead.
roll. There you
Yeah.
go.
All right.
Now,
First of all, and this is directly from the 1930. People say 1937. How could this be so? Well, you know what? This guy was way ahead of his time. And there are people that are doing this today that are walking around with this book like it's their little Bible. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money. You need to be definite as to the amount. And there is a real psychological reason for this. And it's true, there is. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give. It's all about giving in return for the money you desire. Okay, because there's really no such thing as something for nothing, guys. It's not airy fairy, it's not pie in the sky. All right, the only pie in the sky is the one from the bird's going to slap you in the face when they fly over. Okay, that's it. I
yeah,
mean, this is serious. Okay, third, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. All
I
right.
have.
Fourth,
Jeff, I got to tell you, I have it on the calendar. I have a Bentley in a house on December 31st of this year.
there you
On,
go. On the ocean.
well, I didn't say that. I just said Bentley in a house on the calendar.
Okay. There you go. That's cool. So you have created a definite plan, which is number 4. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once. Don't think you don't have the right stuff to carry it out. You need to start this immediately. Okay. Whether you're ready or not, you need to put the plan into action is the key word.
Bingo. Bingo.
Action. Right.
Bingo.
Okay. Number 5.
That's it. It's
I
action.
love that. I love that stuff. Sound effects and all. All right. Fifth, you need to sit down based on number 1 through 4 and write out a very clear, concise statement of the amount of money you're going to intend to acquire. Then you're going to name the time limit for its acquisition. You're going to state what you intend to give in return for the money. and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it, which is the action plan. Action, action, action.
So what you intend to give? Tell me a little bit about that. That's
Well,
interesting.
give is what, how does anybody receive anything?
They
First
give.
of all, you need to give before you receive. I don't
Right.
care. It is, I call it it's like the circle of life.
But how many Americans are, I'm just talking about America in general, because I think Americans have lost their way even more than any other culture, I think, right? So how many people do you know that actually give?
I actually know a lot.
Well, you're in Maine, though. Maine's a different
No,
story.
I'm not talking about Maine. I'm an international guy. I'm all over the spectrum.
But if
I'm
you think,
all over the planet as an
yes, I know you are. I know you are. But I mean, locally, your neighbor is probably a giver, where my neighbor probably is not a giver. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
And
maybe that's something we've lost, and that's the unfortunate part of it.
it
You know,
is.
yeah, I call it gift what you need.
Yes. That's
Okay. I have a little group on Facebook if anybody would like to go on there. I started it a couple of years ago. There's not too many people there. I haven't done a lot with it because not to make excuses, I just haven't. But it is gift what you need. And when you
yeah,
gift what you need, basically
yeah.
you're giving and then you shall receive. Now you may not receive it from the same person you may give something to.
It's energy.
Okay. But the way the energy comes around, everything that comes around goes around. It's a circle.
That's right.
They call it cyclical. It's just like the calendar. It starts at the beginning, goes to the end. It's like numbers. Virtually we got 1 to 9 and 0, right? Okay, so once you get to the end, you start over again.
That's right.
Okay, and it's what it is. This is the law of nature. There's nothing really magical about this. So you've got to sit down. And what I've had everybody do in our group is basically they had to write this statement and prove to me that they were committed and serious. And you have to see, this is what's important about the belief. The belief comes in when you write this, you may not be convinced yet. However, you get up in the morning, you read it. I don't care if it's on the throne or it's on the edge of the bed. You put your 2 feet in the floor, you read it. Before you go to bed at night, you read it and you lie down and you think about it and you go to sleep. Minimum 2 times a day. I recommend more. I recommend as often as you can. The more you've read this in handwritten penmanship, by the way, pardon me, I don't care if it's printed. I don't care if you want to write it longhand. Go back to the old hand. Write it. Get a pen, get a pencil, write it.
It'll really sink in that way.
You commit it to memory when you write it. Now, what we're trying to do as an interventionist, I can tell you, an LP practitioner and a hypnotherapist, I can tell you, you need to get in through the firewall of the mind into your unconscious. It is your unconscious habits from youth and all that stuff you learned as a kid when you were told, no, 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 Johnny, don't do that. Don't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. All the negativity, all the times you were told, don't dream. Stop being a daydreamer. Wake up and pay attention to what's going on. All of that, all of that was what caused you to feel less than your potential. As children, we're nothing but
That's right.
dreamers. We're dreamers. We're born to be dreamers. As soon as you start to think, you're always look at the inquisitiveness of a child. Look what they're trying to do. Always want to touch this and touch that and do this and do that. Of course, parents don't want them to get hurt, so they're stopping them from doing many things. Some of them just because they don't want them to be noisy. They don't want them to cry. They don't want them to act up, whatever. But ultimately, somewhere along the line, your inner feelings were hurt. You were squelched. And you
Yes.
carry that, no fault of anybody's, at least we trust not, but you carry that with you in your adulthood, and it becomes your, as I say, the modus operandi. It becomes how you run your life from the internal. Because if you think about it, you get in the car, you drive the car, you go to where you're going, you've been there 100 times, your mind just goes. It isn't
That's right.
it's just an unconscious thought because you know how to get in, you know how to start the car, you know what it sounds like. It's a habit, right? It becomes a habit. What we do in your morning routine, get up, the Beatles just say, brush my teeth, drag a comb across my head. On the way downtown, it was this habit that they did every day, which was what? Simple. Habit, Habit. And when you create a habit, it is the main operating center. So if something comes up to contradict that habit, immediately that habit's going to go, no, 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 don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. You're not that person. You can't be successful. You can't be wealthy. You can't have the Bentley. You can't have the house on the ocean. So what do you believe? It's easier to believe the habit that's telling you no, that little voice in your head, versus believing that you can achieve it. So you need to make a new empowering statement. You need to change that habit, flip the switch, bring it on the other side, and get rid of it. I do it with people with hypnotherapy all the time. And
Yes.
it sinks very quickly. It sinks very quickly. You can also do it. Everybody listening to us today on the entire planet, every human walking, I should say, self-hypnotizes themselves probably a dozen times a day. Pardon?
You got it right the first time. Waking. You got it right the first time.
Yeah, if they're not awake, right? But think about it. How many times can you drive down the interstate and you're thinking about something, you're talking about something, all of a sudden, wait a minute, our exit's right here. We got to get off. And you just,
Yeah.
or you go by it. How many times I've done that along trips, you're thinking about this, you're listening to music, you're talking, the next thing you know, bam, you just went by the exit.
Yeah.
Today, we've got GPS to remind us. So how about
Yes.
making a GPS in your brain to remind you? How about casting a new habit? How about creating a new habit? Because you can do it. You can blast right past that old thing and change it. And this is what mega manifesting is really all about. You've got to get in there and you got to do it. But you need to take the action. We need to take the action. And when you're in a group, this group can do this. You can all support each other, work together. And that's why our mastermind and my network is all about this stuff, because we're accountable and collaborative to each other. Therefore, we hold each other's feet to the fire, so to speak, nose to the stone.
You have to,
Yeah.
it's so easy for us to say, yeah, not today. It's a nice sunny day. I'm just going to go do nothing and sit on the deck with a drink or, a glass of wine and just chill, and where's that going to get you? You know where that's
honestly, life is short. Life is short, and then we leave. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not against relaxing, but
You're right.
if there's something in your mind that you should be doing, that you should be doing it, then it's not time to relax. It's not time to sit there with that glass of wine or whatever it is. You need to be doing what you're doing. And I can tell you from my own experience, I used to go to bed at 2 a.m. and get up at 5, and I didn't need a lot of sleep because I was living in my passion. I was living in what I was supposed to be doing.
Right.
And I knew that. And I think that once you get in that zone, you don't need to worry about having those moments where, I won't do it. I'm just going to sit and relax. Because you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to get up. You're going to want to take action. You're going to want, it's going to be exciting and thrilling. And I remember not even wanting to eat or sleep or, just wanting to do what I wanted to do. And it was just amazing. And I'd have to force myself to have a decent, healthy meal and carry on, because I was just so enthralled in what I was doing and how I was building my empire. So I think once you get into your path and your purpose and what you're here to do, and you know what you're supposed to be doing, mega manifesting is so easy. It's just a matter of one foot in front of the other. Because there's so many people in my life that have come to me and said, Michelle, that you're so great. What have you done? This is amazing. You've come from this small town to Los Angeles, and now you're living here, and you've got an office, and yada yada yada. It's yeah, I do, but it was one foot in front of the other, and it took me 15 years of trial and error. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of setbacks. It was like 2 steps back, 1 step forward. It was almost like a birthing process where I would think I was getting ahead, and then I'd be 2 steps back. So it took me a while. But that's the thing, you don't have to, we're not saying to give up your day job today. And I didn't, there's a lot of people in the beginning who work that day job and do that thing that pays the bills. And that's okay, because we do live in a physical world. And I was talking to Jeff earlier today about that same thing. It's like, I'm going to eat that burger as long as I've got that physical body, because my favorite food is cheeseburgers. I love cheeseburgers. And, there's a lot of vegans and people that would disagree with me, but I have an O positive blood type and I'm a carnivore. So I'm going to eat the burger and I'm going to enjoy the burger until I don't have a physical body. So if you have bills to pay, sure, work that job and do the things that you love on the side and build it as you go. Take steps. As long as you're taking a step, you're cool. Just keep going.
Right.
That step
That's
is that's action. And I think that's the whole thing, Jeff, is that we had this law of attraction. It was so great. I mean, she was really on par with the whole movie that was created in the book and all that stuff. But the thing that was lacking was the action part.
Absolutely true. And those that participated in the movie, of whom I know, John Asraf, Bob Doyle, I'm trying to think the other fellow, Bob Proctor. Those are the three that I know of, and I happen to know Bob Doyle, and I happen to know John Asraf. And saying that, they will all agree with you on that step.
Yes.
All right. However, the third name I mentioned, Bob Proctor,
yes,
this is like his little Bible right here.
that's right.
He said this is the one. This is the one, because Napoleon Hill hit on stuff in 1937 by interviewing the famous and the elite and the most wealthy in the United States.
How
And
they
by
did it.
doing so, he found out there were key things about what each one of them did.
Mm-hmm.
He got into there's a lot more in this book than meets the eye, and I highly recommend it. I got mine from a gentleman who I ought to mention, Vic Johnson. Vic Johnson has a company. He's the asamanthinketh.net, and Vic's I think in LA right now with Kyle Wilson, who is the 18-year business partner with Jim Rohn before Jim Rohn passed. And Kyle is a gentleman I know as well. And Kyle still continues on, and they do all kinds of phenomenal events in LA, San Diego, in that area. And I know that Vic is with him right now. As a matter of fact, I just got the notice of it today. But he said this is his Bible too.
Mm-hmm.
And he went from nothing, homeless, lost his house. They had a junk car that didn't drive. His wife didn't know what they were going to do. And the next thing you know, he read this book and he followed it to the letter. And he is now a multimillionaire. And by the way, if you go on, I don't know if he's still doing it. He had a thing going on for a while where he was giving this book away if you paid the postage.
Wow.
All right. Asamanthinketh.net.
Asamanthinketh.net. Okay.
Yep.
Write that one.
THIKETH.net. And he's the founder of that, Vic Johnson. And he got permission to rewrite this book. Excuse me, not rewrite it. Bring it back out. What am I trying to say? And the other thing I wanted to mention to go along with this is passion. The word passion has a lot to do with manifesting.
Yes.
If you have a passion for, I'll use your cheeseburgers, for example. If you have a passion for cheeseburgers, when you think that you're hungry and you're out and about, you're probably going to think you're going to go get a cheeseburger. I can relate to that. I love Italian food. I love pizza. There's not too much food I don't love, but in moderation. And I love pizza. I love a real good cooked pizza, the real thing, and I don't care if it even has toppings on it. It can just be cheese, just that right blend of cheese, and I love it. Well, when I have a passion for that, I want it. A passion is something you desire. The word desire comes in here. People have passions for all kinds of things. Well, how much passion do you have to get out of the rut you're living in right now, just barely making it, working a job, which is just over broke? And most people can relate to that these days. How much passion do you have tomorrow morning when you wake up to put your feet on the floor and say, okay, this is what I've got to go do today? And think about how much passion is connected to it. Is it your passion that you're getting up, hitting the floor, running with a smile on your face, grabbing a cup of coffee, hitting the door or hitting the home office and getting out and doing it? How many people can honestly say that they have a passion? Michelle, you say you do. I do.
But I know a lot of people who...
A lot of people don't, and I can't always say I did because I didn't. I didn't. It wasn't until about 6.5 years ago when I said, I've had enough. I've had enough. Now, I'm not going to say I wasn't successful financially, because it isn't all about the finances. It's also about life, the circle of life. How are you living it? Are your bills paid? And my coach, James Malinchek, who is ABC's The Secret Millionaire, and he is presently my coach. Emily and I, my wife, will be in Vegas with him the 18th, 19th, and 20th of April. Here's the thing. He says there's two words that are critical in this whole equation: time, freedom.
Yes.
If you have time, you have freedom. That means you have acquired. You have mega manifested. You've brought yourself into a state of being and having, and the circle is complete and it's flowing. I want to go to the beach. I want to fly to the Bahamas. I want to go buy a Bentley. I want a new car. It's because you can, but you can also help other people because you have enough resources now and connections with people that you can do that.
Exactly.
You've acquired it. You've worked for it. You conceived it, you believed it, and you achieved it. But it's
Right.
got to be done. There's got to be a burning desire. You've got to really want to do it, and you've got to have a passion for it. If you don't have the passion, so when it comes to wanting to do this and change your life, get up tomorrow morning and ask yourself that question. How much passion do I have to go do what I'm doing today? And if you can't answer the question that I got the passion, I've got the desire, I want to do it, then you need to find out what that is that you need and want to do.
That's
Now,
right.
again, Michelle was right. You just can't drop the job, the job, but you can do something to start rolling in the right direction. And that takes action. We talked
That's
about
right.
this last week. When the movie producer says, everybody ready? Ready? Action. Boom. Things roll. The cameras roll. That's when things happen.
But everybody's situation is different too, because yeah, there are times when you can drop the job and jump, and there are people like that who can
Right.
actually
Oh, yeah.
transition. It just depends, but you just need to know that one factor is that there are multiple ways to go about this, and if, let's say, your situation doesn't call for you to be taking that leap right away, then you're not meant to take that leap right away, and that's okay. You're not a
Right.
failure, not
Right.
not doing it right, or whatever you want to think. You're doing it the right way. It's just your way, and it's your pathway. So you look at stories where people have left their job and just took the leap immediately, and that's okay. That's their path, but
That's correct.
it wasn't. I worked a job for quite a while, and once I had both feet on the ledge and I knew that I was safe enough to jump, I jumped. And
You
yeah,
spread your wings and you flew.
there was a little bit of a, oh my goodness, what am I doing? But I knew I had enough passion and enough purpose and enough stuff behind me that I could make it fly. And I
That's
did.
it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Jeff, you are one of my inspirations for sure, because you're one of those generations that should not be in that mindset that you're in, but you are. You're like way ahead of your time completely. You're like, I don't know what to. I'm still trying to figure out what to label you, because
Thank you very much.
you're an anomaly. I mean, you really are an anomaly. It's interesting because you really you really don't look your age because of that glow that you have. It's like almost like fairy dust, the little bit of sparkle you've got that I think you've carried in with you some sort of, and I know this sounds strange to some people who might be listening, but I think that there is some truth to those different levels of energy that have come through. And these kids today, for example, I mean, there's a lot of kids today that feel like they're entitled. They're entitled to have this or have that, or and back, if we go further back to, I think they call them indigos and rainbow children.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I don't know about the names. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence about those, but the energy they were bringing in, I think you brought a lot of that energy in. You had some of that energy, so you really have that sparkle, that energy that says, I know what I want, I'm going to go get it. And it's so contradictory to your generation, but it's so
That
interesting.
is
Like,
very true.
you're very much a leader for your generation, very much so.
Thank you
So,
very much,
of
Michelle.
course,
I'm humbled.
yes.
I am humbled. Thank you.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
so we're going to wrap this call up. I know it's a short call, guys, but I have to, Matthew was supposed to be on the call again today, but he's having a little bit of health issues, and, everybody pray for him because he's got,
Yeah, wish him well. Send him good energy.
he had Lyme's disease a while back, years ago, and it's caused him
That is a tough one.
yeah, it's a tough one to recover from.
Yes.
So Jeff and I were floating the boat tonight, so we were definitely carrying the show. But next week we want to have Matthew on and get him back in the ring, because he has a lot to say as well. But Jeff, you did a good job tonight. The passion, the action. How can we sum up the call? That's
the
it.
keys. The keys.
For what you want, and take that action, take that step. You know, there's nothing special about Jeff and I other than the fact that we're taking the step by step by step. Every day we get up, we get out of bed, and we take that next step. And that's really what it's about. And we have the passion behind what we're doing. So that's
Exactly
where I
right.
want to. And thank you, Jeff, for being on this call again.
Thank
And
you
being
for having me, Michelle. Thank you very much. And thanks for having the call in the group. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. I mean, this Mega Manifester thing, there's so many East Coast people who are coming out of the woodwork. I love it. I mean, you guys are like hidden gems up there. I'm going to have to like start digging around in Maine and Massachusetts and all that area, because I think we've got some people up there that I'm not tapped into yet. So thank you, Jeff.
Quite a few more than I thought too, Michelle. That's true. Thank you very much. Pleasure being here, folks. Thank you, Michelle.
Until next time, guys.
All right.
I'm here again next week. So practice what we've preached, passion and action.